Hi,
Hey,
everybody.
happy Thursday.
Happy Thursday, everybody. You enjoying your Friday Eve?
Yes. Time for our 11 a.m. show where we break down some really important topics.
Yeah, it feels like it's later in the day than 11 a.m., doesn't it?
Yeah.
Good morning. Hey, let's get right into your weather right now. It's a warm day out there. We're going to look at live look outside. Blue skies. Looks a little hazy. We do have another air pollution action day today until midnight. So that's that haze you see in the air, but very few clouds out there. We might see a couple more building this afternoon and warm. Right now, it's already 85 degrees near O'Hare. We're looking at temperatures climbing up 90 degrees today. So it's going to be a hot one. That's, about 7 or 8 degrees above normal for this time of year. Tomorrow, we're going to be up to 92. We're going to get a little bit more humid. It's going to be hot out there. A couple clouds will move in later on in the afternoon. And then Saturday, it's probably going to feel a little bit warmer on Saturday, even than Friday, because it's going to be really muggy out there. It's going to be warm and humid on Saturday. We're going to see variable cloudiness out there. Possible scattered thunderstorms and showers overnight on Saturday. The likelihood, though, is going to be late Saturday into Sunday. So Sunday's not a complete washout for Father's Day. You are going to see some on and off showers and thunderstorms Sunday morning, but hopefully should be done by about noontime, and then just turning partly cloudy for the afternoon. High of 84 degrees. Maybe seeing a stray shower out there in the late afternoon, but most of the day afternoon will be partly cloudy. Monday, it's going to be slightly cooler, 86, or sorry, slightly warmer, 86. Also a slight chance also for those afternoon showers and thunderstorms. Tuesday falls back to about 83, which is right where we should be for this time of year. Some sun, you'll see some periods of clouds on Tuesday as well. And then Wednesday, pretty normal. It's going to be mild, near normal temperatures, and some possible showers late afternoon, but not necessarily a washout.
Thanks a lot, Amy. I want to give you guys a news update here. Been quite a week for the Supreme Court. They just rejected the Trump administration's attempt to dismantle DACA in a 5-4 vote. And, just the same with lower court rulings. SCOTUS is claiming that the Trump administration did not follow the proper legal procedures when it came to this challenge. They say it didn't evaluate the effect that DACA's removal would have on dreamers who rely on its deportation and work protections. Donald Trump, of course, tweeted about it, but turned it towards the Second Amendment. He said these horrible and politically charged decisions coming out of the Supreme Court are shotgun blasts into the face of people that are proud to call themselves Republicans or conservatives. We need more justices or we will lose our Second Amendment and everything else. Vote Trump 2020. That is his response. Mayor Lori Lightfoot also responding. Let me see if I can pull that up real quick. She is actually praising the decision by the Supreme Court, saying today is a great day for our city and our country, and she applauds the ruling in favor of the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals.
Yeah, this is a vulnerable group. I'm so happy to see this, a vulnerable group that was really affected by what President Trump and his administration did. And so for this to be overturned and also supported by the Supreme Court, kind of setting things right and putting some folks at ease, it's a good thing to see.
It's interesting to see the president saying we shouldn't politicize this, because that's exactly what he did by fighting it. Don't really understand that.
Exactly.
Yeah, I've received a lot of messages too from friends that are just surprised, attorneys as well, that, they kind of envisioned the worst coming out of this decision. And now we can see that it's turning in a different manner as well. Now, Brandon, to what you were saying, Lightfoot in her press conference this morning, she got super emotional. She was saying this was a beautiful day for this to happen, super excited that this is happening. And going off of what Mayor Lori Lightfoot had to say this morning, she was actually talking a lot about the reopening and restoring of the city's lakefront. Now, she and the Chicago Park District announced the CEO of Citadel, Ken Griffin, is donating $4.75 million to repair the lakefront trail. Now, the cool thing about this is that the funds are actually going to also be going to protect the trails from future storms. Now, right now, we know that the lakefront will be reopening on June 22nd. Now, people have to remain in constant motion. That's one of the rules. And you're only allowed to go from 6 a.m. to 7 p.m. Another good note here for people who live near the 606 trail, they are also lifting restrictions for that as well. Again, Lightfoot said they're worried about big gatherings, right? Since we're still going through this COVID-19 pandemic that hasn't gone away yet, the Park District will be working with volunteers who will serve as social distance ambassadors who are going to hopefully keep crowds a little separated from each other, that 6-foot rule there. And as far as consequences go, the mayor says she doesn't want to lock people up. She doesn't want to fine people. She just wants to educate everyone to make sure that we're following the guidelines that we're supposed to.
Thank you, Deanna. Yeah, it's about time we see the lakefront open, right? But at the same time, everyone has to continue to be careful.
Yeah. Are you guys going, Deanna, Brandon? I know you guys work out a lot, sometimes outside. Are you all going to be on the lakefront?
100%.
Yeah.
First thing I'm doing when it opens.
Look at Amy. Go ahead, Amy. Get him.
I'm like, wait, you said you won't go to an outdoor restaurant.
No, but I can go run on a trail. I go running every morning.
But do you see how busy the lakefront gets? I'm just shocked that you'll do one but not the other.
Yeah. And he lives by the busy part of the lakefront.
Amy, Brandon is sprinting down.
Oh, right, yeah.
I can't avoid working out. Otherwise, I'm going to become a big blob. I have to do something.
Brandon's going so fast that Corona can't catch him.
I can't catch him. Right. Thanks, Deanna.
Thanks a lot, Deanna. All right, guys, ready to have some fun?
Yeah. Let's get
All
to
right.
it.
So let's start off with Cameo. Cameo helps you get personalized messages from thousands of celebrities and stars all across the country. And we're joined by Kyle Singles of the Cameo talent team to talk some more about it. Hey, Kyle.
Hi, how's it going, Brandon?
Doing well, man. Good to see you. So Cameo seems like a really good idea for Father's Day. What makes it the perfect Father's Day gift?
Oh, man. I think what makes it perfect is just because of how hard it is to shop for fathers in general. I think in like my history and talking to my dad, just like, I don't need more stuff is usually the thing that he would usually tell me. And maybe it'd be like an experience. But like, as we go into Father's Day and there's so many things that have been like cut off because of the quarantine and pandemic and things, I think of things like Pat Hughes, the announcer of the Cubs, you know, and like, you can't go to a game right now, but how cool would it be to be like, Dad, I'm thinking about you because you know what, we go to games together and we have for 20 years. And like, it's about like bringing out that emotional connection. You're a fan of a lot of the people that are on the Cameo platform, celebrities, athletes, but it's also like, hey, let's think about this because you know what? I love you and we do this thing together and let's remind ourselves of that on a special day.
That's so cute. What are some of the big names that Dad might be interested in?
Oh man, there's so many. If he's a little more, you know, comedically oriented, you know, we've got guys like Gilbert Godfrey, Cedric the Entertainer, John Cleese from like Monty Python. Oh man, there's so many people that could fall into that. If you're talking about athletes, I just mentioned Pat Hughes, but we've got Mike Ditka that just recently came back on. You know, if you're a little bit more north of the border, you've got like Brett Favre and individuals like that. So many people across so many different cross sections of pop culture. It's almost paralysis by choice, but you know, everybody's got their own people they're fans of. So that helps define it a little bit quicker.
I love that there's such levels to it. I mean, you can get someone for like $25 or someone could be a little bit more expensive, closer to $1,000.
Yeah, there is a wide variety there too. And so it's also what's in your price range too. And you know, what you're willing to spend on that. But you know, it's kind of priceless. Like I'm in a lucky position because I get to see like a lot of reaction videos and reviews. And so I get to really see like how much it means to people after the fact. So I'm totally biased, you know, when I'm thinking about it.
So how does it actually work? How is it, I guess, formatted? You know, people submit their request and they say what event they're celebrating and then what happens?
Yep. So you go to cameo.com or download our app. You find the person that you want, you put in that request, that goes to the celebrity. And within the app, it's almost like a teleprompter where it gives you a couple things that maybe you want to mention to your father or you want to mention to whoever that person might be. The person that gets that request then just records the video in the app. Once it's over, clicks upload, it gets sent to either via text or via the app to the recipient. And then you can deliver that in whatever means you want. Some people like actually put that number or email directly in so it goes to them unprompted. Some people want to receive it themselves and present it in a little bit different or special way, maybe on a big screen or something like that, make it a little bit more of an event than just a, hey, here's this video, but more like, hey, we got this really special thing we want to like sit you down for and check it out.
So how does the Cameo talent team approach these big names and stars about this and getting them on board?
Well, you know what? I'd be honest, pretty much any way you can think of. You know, we're a young company. We're very savvy in social media. You know, we'll slide into the DMs if that's what it takes. We'll go the more official routes. You know, we'll work with their teams. Pretty much if there's a way to get in contact with a human being, we've tried it, thought about it, gotten to that point, and you can kind of see the results with almost 40,000 people on the platform. And then there's also people that just come on because they want to do it. They have fun. They come to us because they're like, my friends are doing it. why am I not doing this? Or they want to raise money for a good cause or things along those lines. So yeah, it's been an interesting thing to like learn about how to work with these type of individuals.
Yeah, and their PR teams, I would imagine too. Have you gotten more successful, do you think, during the quarantine? Because everyone's like, I'm busy. I got nothing to do. Let's do this.
We really have.
Yeah.
You know, we've grown almost 700% in just the last couple months.
Wow.
And there's a lot of things that go into that. You know, the availability of some of these people that have never really existed before. You know, we've got musicians that aren't on tours. We've got comedians that aren't doing their sets at different cities across the country. So they're available, and you know what, they need and want to earn income themselves. But also at the same time, we've got the other side, which is people are sitting at home. They can't go see people for Father's Day still in big parts of the country. They want to send a message or show that they're thinking about them, whether it be friends or family. So it's really both sides of that coin has been impacted, and we're in a really lucky position that we're a company that's, you know, able to grow during a period like this.
Crazy.
Do you guys help the celebrities set the pricing for themselves, or do they decide that?
So they decide the pricing. We do offer recommendations. You know, we're not a company that's like, you have to do this or you have to do that. But, you know, our team is really like, all right, great. Well, like, this is what we think that you should be priced. But also it's about what their goals might be too. Like, you know, some people just want to keep it very low because they want to do as many fans as they can. Some people just have less time on their hands, so they have to keep it a little bit higher just to kind of create a little bit more of a paywall so that they don't have too many requests that they can't get to for their fans. So there's a little bit of everything that kind of goes into that.
Okay,
You
so
have
not
any-
so much self-worth.
Oh,
Because
no.
I'm like, I'm worth at least $500, but my real price probably should be $25.
Yeah, I'm like $1 million, you know, in my head. But
Right.
at the same time, it's like, no, it's what people want to get out of it, you know, and they want to be accessible. And most people do want to be very accessible, but it's also like these people do have sometimes hundreds of thousands and millions of followers. And it's kind of like, if you open up that floodgate, it's like,
Right.
oh my gosh, like calm down a little bit. We need to slow this down. And so there's a little bit of an artificial, hey, we need to make sure that there's enough that we can do all of these and serve the fans that really want and need them.
Do you have any idea who the most expensive cameo might be?
Caitlyn Jenner is officially, I think, the most expensive at $2,500.
Whoa.
Yes. And she does, you know, she gets booked and does a few of those, but she doesn't want to do a ton. So like, that's what we kind of talk about. But there's so many great price points at Cameo. Like there's some of my favorite people are less than $50. There's a lot of like, and if we're not talking about Father's Day, like my personal favorites, there's a lot of people that have come from like the Chicago comedy scene, you know, that are, you know, in Brooklyn now or LA that are like kind of up and coming and, you know, $30 or $35 that do a lot of like improv and sketch stuff that, you know, make really great cameos because they have so much energy and like so many ideas that can go and flow into that stuff.
Do you have a favorite like message that one of the celebrities have done that just made you laugh?
Oh man, there's so many that make me laugh. Let me think about, I think anything with Gilbert Godfrey makes me laugh because of his voice, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
You know, Jeff Ross does great roasts. There's so many that just kind of make me chuckle. Like there's people really put a lot of energy into it. And there's this girl named Meg Stalter, who's a Brooklyn comedian, up and coming. She came from Chicago. All of her stuff makes me just laugh out loud because she does a lot of like point of view character stuff. And then she transfers it really well to Cameo. And everyone I watch, I'm just like, all right, I totally understand this.
Are you surprised at who people are willing to spend money on? Because I think our former governor is on Cameo now, Blagojevich. I can't think that people want to spend money for that kind of thing.
I'm not surprised because the world is insane and crazy. And, you know, like with people and the age of social media and the followings that are there is something a little bit for everybody. And no matter where you fall, and you talk about Blagojevich as far as like the political spectrum, there's actually a lot of really like good things and nice things that come out of that. Like there's still the ability to have a nice message for someone that you care and a loved one. And like, that's what I really focus on in those instances too, is like, all right, like this is still meaningful. And, you know, I'd like to continue to make as many meaningful and happy, magical moments out in the world that we possibly can. Cause I think that's something that we really want
Yeah.
all the time.
Is there a celebrity out there that you guys just haven't quite gotten yet, but you definitely want to? I know I can think of a few that would be
Me
some
too.
really good cameos.
Oh, there's so many. If I could have Seth Rogen on in a heartbeat, I would love to have him. We've got, you name it. I think every time I go to like my hometown, it's a little smaller hometown, and they go, "What do you do?" Oprah. Like, is Oprah on? No, Oprah's not on yet. But like, Mom, I would love to have her, and we're going to continue to work on that. And maybe we'll get to the team, and we'll find a cause or something. Maybe she wants to raise money for, and like, obviously.
That's my question though. Like, so how are you guys reaching out to those people to try to get them on? Because I'm thinking like Beyonce, Drake, Rihanna, like, you guys have big names, but these are like mega stars. So do you have to go through their people, or are you going in DMs, or, I mean, how do you even try to reach those folks?
It really depends, because every talent is kind of a master of their own destiny. And some people, create that circle of individuals around them to like make sure that they aren't accessible. Some people don't want that same thing. So it's kind of like, no, like, message me. I want to talk about it, and then I'll take that to my team. So it really does vary. And without giving you a line item strategy or tactical way that we would go about it, we want to talk to everybody that has fans and that fans would love this for. So we'll kind of execute every avenue to be able to do that.
How long are the videos usually that they make, or is there any limit on the time?
There's no limit. We've had some people, and I can't remember off the top of my head, do 38 minutes, 52 minutes. Like,
oh my God.
I think they were going for a Guinness Book of World Record for Cameo, which I'm sure we could find one. Maybe there is a record there someday. If not, we should make it. But usually the average is like 50 seconds to like a minute and 30. So going back to your question, like when you put in a request, you put in up to 250 characters. So there's a limit to the amount of information you can put in. But depending on who it is, they can run with it, and they can make a tell Joe happy birthday into a 5-minute monologue or a song, even if you're a musician. So they can be pretty creative with it.
That is awesome. That sounds so cool. Thank you so much. Let me get some information up on the screen so folks can, check it out. Maybe it is a good Father's Day present. At Cameo on Instagram, cameo.com for folks who want to check it out. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. It's such a fun topic.
No problem. Thanks for having me. Really enjoyed it.
Yeah, absolutely. That would be so cool. I can think of like all these people like my dad would like. I'm like, now I want to go in and just search the database. I'm like, man.
Yeah, I've been on there, but the fact that he's saying so many more people have gotten on there because of this, now I'm like, okay, I need to go back and check it out.
It's the perfect Father's Day gift, because most dads have a sports star or figure or legend that they just love, and they got a message personalized for them from them. They'd go crazy.
Why are men so hard to shop for?
I don't know, but you should see what I bought my dad. I can't say it. Well, he's not. I don't want him to look, but it's really funny. And it was just because I know he's got everything, right? So I just wanted to make him laugh.
Yeah.
Hey, well, since we're talking Father's Day, let's move on to our next guest. Jeffrey Loving is talking about fathers' rights as we get closer to Father's Day. He's here to kind of lay out how things with fathers is going during the lockdown. Thank you so much for joining us.
Great to be here.
I think there's a delay in your audio a little bit. Let's see. We got you now?
I think we got him.
Can you hear me?
Yep, yeah, we can. Okay. So do you have any, how are you dealing with fathers' rights during the lockdown? I would imagine things are difficult just given the parameters of the situation.
Very difficult, because the courts are primarily closed, and a lot of fathers and children are suffering, and it's hard to get into court. But luckily, we've been getting into court on an emergency basis and protecting fathers and children. We've had a lot of victories, but it's been tough.
Have you had any cases related to the lockdown?
Absolutely. We had one case where my client came home from work and the mother wouldn't let him in, claiming he had the coronavirus. We had another case where the mother just cut off all contact with the father and his children, claiming he had the coronavirus. We ran into court on an emergency basis on both cases and won both cases and reunited both dads with their children. And I had another victory that I'm going to talk about on Power 92 this Saturday at 9 a.m., where I won a case for a grandmother, a paternal grandmother, so she could have custody for herself, and she lives with the father who's a teenager. He's a child himself, so they could both take care of his little baby because the mother left the state.
I have a friend who had a case very similar. It was a dad's rights case. He was fighting to keep his kids. And the mother wasn't the best situation for the kids to be in. But he talked a lot about the bias that he felt was going towards the mother in the case. Do you feel like that's really a thing that you have to fight in these cases when it comes to dad's rights?
Absolutely. There's incredible gender bias that I fight with and against and correct daily. It's getting better, though. When I started practicing law, it was worse, much worse. But since I started practicing law, I've contributed and co-authored many laws that are changing things. I co-authored the first real joint custody law in Illinois, and that's helped a lot of dads and children. It's also helped mothers, because when you're focusing on the best interest of the children, it should help everybody. But gender bias is a problem. I had one case I'll never forget where the mother didn't want to give custody to my client, a great dad, after the mother caused a car accident, almost killing the little baby, put him in the hospital, and that little boy ended up with permanent brain damage.
Oh.
The judge didn't want to give the dad custody. It was a horrific case, very sad case. And the mother was arrested for that, and the judge still didn't want to give the father custody.
Unbelievable. You've dedicated your career to fathers' rights and trying to do what's best for children. With Father's Day this weekend, what does that mean to you?
It means a lot to me, not only as an attorney fighting for fathers, it means a lot to me as a father. And it also means a lot to me because there's one day each year that we recognize the importance and the critical role fathers play in the lives of their children. But it should be every day, not just one day.
Yeah, because don't studies show how much more well-developed kids are when they have both parents in their lives, even if they're not married?
Absolutely. The first book I wrote many years ago, Father's Rights, I have statistics in there showing the impact of positive father involvement on children and the effect of father absence on children. For instance, children that are father absent are more likely to do poor academically, develop psychological disorders, but also what I showed in that book is the most reliable predictor of crime in America is father absence, because dads are needed for the structure. It's critical. When I was on President Obama's National Finance Committee years ago, I remember discussing that with him in one of the committee meetings, and everybody in that meeting, including former President Obama, was in agreement that fathers are critical. And I interviewed President Obama on a radio show I used to host many years ago, and we discussed those issues.
Yeah, fathers really are critical. There's a great movie called Daddy's Little Girls. It's got Idris Elba in it, one of my favorite movies of all time. And it's one of my favorites because it shows a single father, an image you don't usually see in the media. Do we show enough love to single dads out there?
Here's the problem. Single dads, unfortunately, are too often portrayed with suspicion. When a dad isn't a single dad and he's married or living with the mother and taking care of the child, nobody really cares. But once he's separated, divorced, or just taking care of his child all alone, he's looked at with suspicion when he does almost anything. And that's part of the terrible gender bias in our system. And we have to turn this around because it's tearing our society apart. And we don't want fathers to ever become an endangered species.
Yeah, Jeffrey, thank you so much for joining us today. We all need to remember Father's Day is approaching, and everybody should praise their fathers for what they've done for them.
Thank you, and I appreciate being on your show.
Yeah, thank you. Let's get some information there up on the screen. Anybody has any more questions they'd like to reach out, dadsrights.com is the webpage. Also at Dad's Right on Instagram and Father's Rights on Facebook. Jeffrey Leving, thank you.
Always good to see him.
Yeah, so good.
Keeping it moving, I saw this, I thought it would be kind of funny. So imagine Mozart, right? Great musical composer. Everyone has at least heard of the name if they can't recall his music. What song would we show him today if we wanted to just kind of blow his mind?
Something like, go ahead, sorry, Brandon.
If we can include the video too, I'd say anything from Meg the Stallion. Like,
Wait, I was gonna say anything. Hey, there is this person you should know, Versalis Alcanzar. You should know her. Her name is also known as Cardi B.
I was gonna say anything from like Five Finger Death Punch.
That is a rock band.
Yeah, it's a really heavy metal band.
metal, yeah.
Don't act like I would know that, Amy.
I can't name a
Popular metal
song.
band.
I just know the name of the band.
Yeah.
Pretty popular metal band. It just, I think he'd be blown away by a lot of stuff out
Yeah.
nowadays because music has evolved so much, and it's become so ingrained in the culture. Especially the way streaming has become a part of it, the
Mhm.
visuals we put into it. Like, I think he would be absolutely amazed and maybe shocked that we could do so much with a few notes.
Oh yeah,
Can you imagine being like, so this is a music video. This is what twerking is. And you do it on the up tempo of the beat. You have to like musically explain it.
Yeah.
I think Mozart would be a big Jay-Z fan.
I think he would too.
Yeah, Kanye.
I had something pop up recently at my house, and so I wanted to ask you guys because I had to adult more than I've ever adulted before. And you're almost an adult. You get some problems that have popped up in your life that have shocked you as an adult?
Oh, have I? Yeah, pretty much anything. I would say I get like overwhelmed. I'm like, these cannot be the same prices that my mom paid at the grocery store. When I look at the cost of milk, the cost of fruit and produce and fresh stuff, I'm like, these are not the same prices. This gallon of gas, this is not the same gas. This is a different kind of gas because this gas is expensive. So literally anything that was normal and she complained about paying for it and I didn't understand what the big deal was. Well, now I'm doing it and it costs more and I have sympathy for her then and I have sympathy for myself now.
We recently had to take down, relatively recently, but this is the one that kept coming to my mind. We had to take down 3 trees because of the emerald ash borer and they were on our property. Thousands of dollars we had to pay to take down trees because our village told us that they had been tested and they were sick and we had to pay for it.
Yeah,
like,
that
what?
sounds terrible. That sounds absolutely horrible.
I think a
like-
big one.
Sorry, go ahead, Braden.
Oh, no, go ahead. I interrupted you, but I think a big one for me is taxes. Like, what? We got the first time I had to pay taxes, I'm like, ugh. Now I understand conservatism. Like, I get it.
No, seriously, it's like 30% of your check goes to taxes. You got, don't get me started. You know how I feel about taxes.
Wait until you guys become parents and you find out how much childcare costs.
No, I don't want to find that out.
I mean, astronomical. And then you throw twins in the mix. Like we both almost had a heart attack when we started looking into it.
Well, it's and on a more serious side, it's so much legislation that is going towards that. So many people trying to lobby for legislation to help protect that and keep those costs down. It's literally the price of your mortgage, of your rent. It's absolutely ridiculous.
It's more than that, girlfriend.
But just like, again, you had 2, but just everything that comes with being a homeowner. Like they said that this was so exciting in the time of your life and this is what you should strive for. And then you got to figure out who's going to cut your grass. And then the toilet stops up and me and my husband are sitting there looking at each other.
You know, this.
Sorry, go ahead, Brandon. I was saying we have squirrels. We have squirrels that have damaged some of the shingles on our roof. So now we got to get the shingles on our roof repaired because of the damn squirrels.
You know, I had a similar situation. My first apartment in South Bend, a family of raccoons got into the walls and they chewed through. It was it's something I never imagined having to deal with in my life.
My sister had a family of squirrels in her attic, and they were coming through the ceiling in her bathroom, and they were digging a hole. And there's babies there, and they had to trap them and move them, and
the worst possible place, the bathroom.
Right? Like they're gonna fall through the ceiling.
Lily here in the comments says basement flooding.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That's another one. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see.
Something you don't think about.
I had some recently that just popped in my head. Some family members come up here from the South and they stayed with me during the holidays and they were like, "You have a basement? Let's go see it." They were so excited. I'm like, "Sure, go look at the basement." It's so funny.
We have another one from Martin. He says insurance.
Insurance, yes.
Think about it.
Homeowners insurance, life insurance. I mean, the amount of car insurance, it's like, Keeps going.
It's so expensive, another cost, but you do it because you love your family and you want to protect them and you want the best for them. And it's a good financial decision. But boy, oh boy.
I like this one. Emily says a slow metabolism. LOL.
That part.
Girl,
First of all, y'all haven't even gotten there yet. So it gets
get in there.
I know.
I used to burn calories easy. Now I'm like, ooh, I actually have to watch what I eat.
Yeah.
It's way, way, way worse.
Oh
Go
man.
back to being young again. Take me back to like 7 years old, where the only care I had was the Saturday morning cartoons. you know?
Yeah, right. Miss Jackie Phillips says, as soon as I get the bills paid, they come right back around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, that's why if you don't pay them, then you don't have to worry about that revolving cycle of them coming back.
Oh, so you're just saying you don't pay your bills?
Don't pay
that's what you go?
Yeah, you just let it you don't even have to worry about it.
Okay. Do
'Cause
not
when you
follow
pay
that
it, when you
advice.
pay it, it comes right back around. So just
Yeah.
avoid it altogether.
Oh, okay. When in doubt, just don't do it.
Right.
That's a
All right.
motto, kids.
Yeah, let's move on.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, it's me. That's why everyone's waiting. All right. Keeping it moving, guys. The next person joining us. This is an important conversation. We've got Reverend Oliver Causey from Tabernacle Missionary Baptist Church, which is located in East Chicago, Indiana. And we want to talk about how they have reopened and what that process has been like and how they're trying to keep everyone safe and keep them close to the Lord. Reverend Causey.
Looks like he's still connecting here.
He's on the way. You guys, I absolutely miss church. I didn't go absolutely every Sunday, but it's just it's the social aspect of seeing everybody. And I think about some of the people that live alone and some of the seniors that go to church. It may be the only hug that they get, going to church to see other people. It might be the only sense of family that they have. So when they started this quarantine and shut us all down, I think that was certainly a tough situation for a lot of people that could be in that position.
Hey,
Yeah.
Reverend, can you hear us?
Yes, I'm here.
All right. Good to see you there.
So you guys have reopened. Is that correct, Reverend?
Yes, last Sunday was our second Sunday. We reopened the first Sunday in June with spacing.
Mm-hmm.
Are you able to accommodate all your parishioners right now, or is it because of the spacing, not as many people are able to come for your services?
Yes, well, we've been able to accommodate those that chose to come. It's getting larger as they get used to coming back. The services have been good, and it's good for me because I'm not used to working in that type of atmosphere with nobody there, but yet having to preach the word and share with and encourage the parishioners as well as other people who chose or who have chosen to tune in.
Yeah, I'm sure doing virtual was challenging because you get energy off of the crowd and feedback, and it's just good to have that community of people, right?
Would you repeat that?
I'm sure virtual was challenging because you used to getting that feedback from the crowd and the energy.
Absolutely. Although I had gotten used to the audience not being there, and so my preaching didn't change, or it got back to where it normally was. But it took a minute for me to get there, because to be preaching and see empty pews was something I had not done in a while.
Yeah, you kind of need the energy of the people to push the message along sometimes, I imagine.
Absolutely.
Now, are you having parishioners wear masks while they're there too?
Yes. Oh, yes. Absolutely. I'm the only one, and I take it off when I'm ready to make my presentation, but I wear a mask also, and they take my temperature as I come in, and I go through the whole protocol as the rest of the parishioners.
Yeah. What you think when you first heard about everything closing and shutting down and the fact that we wouldn't be able to go to church?
Would you repeat that, hon?
Yeah. What you think when you heard about everything closing and shutting down and the fact that we wouldn't be able to go to church? The church plays an integral part in a lot of people's lives.
Yes, I was wondering how they would accept it and how they would respond. And I was pleasantly surprised that they responded well. And not only that, we picked up other people along the way. I have relatives who watch faithfully from across the country.
Oh, nice.
And so it's been a blessing in disguise. I really didn't know how it was going to work, but the staff here has been faithful, and we've had to make adjustments along the way because this was something new for us, and we got thrown into, like, we were having service, if you can call it. I don't really like to call it regular service, but we were having our normal services one Sunday, and the next Sunday we were without a live audience. So it was an adjustment.
Mm-hmm.
So now go ahead, Amy.
I was going to say, I imagine this is a time with the pandemic, and then of course with all the protests we've had in the city of Chicago. This is a time when people need you the most. Were you people reaching out to you to find out when you're coming back, or that they wanted to see more of it on social media broadcasting?
Well, yes, I have been asked the question, when are we going to come back full? And I don't know when that's going to be, because we're still having services, and the staff has done a excellent job of cleaning the church after we have left. So it's something that we have to get used to, but they have asked, and the offerings basically have not changed. The people have been I was very pleasantly surprised to find out that the giving never basically changed. The people were very diligent in their giving, even though they couldn't get here, especially a lot of the senior citizens who choose not to come now to be on the safe side. And we do miss them, because they're one of the things about the senior citizens, they are always a source of encouragement, but they've had to stay home and not only take care of themselves, but watch other loved ones. And so it's been a challenge, but then I was pleasantly surprised at the response from the congregation at making the adjustment to not being able to attend on Sunday mornings as normal, especially those who attend our Sunday school or our study period.
So what role do you think, with all the unrest happening right now and the issues with Breonna Taylor, George Floyd, police killings, what role do you think the church plays in fighting for social justice?
It has been again a real challenge, because nobody was here physically, and to amalgamate all of the people, it's been a challenge. Although the people that I talk to on a regular basis are very adamant, and they have been a part of some of the movements, some of the social movements. And again, I was pleasantly surprised to see their involvement in what was going on and what is yet going on. So that has worked out well. Again, I was pleasantly surprised at their involvement. It seems like the involvement was more because they were put at a disadvantage by not being able to gather and as I said before, to amalgamate ourselves as a church to attend to those problems that have arisen over the last couple of months.
Before we go, do you have an encouraging word for us, Pastor?
Yes, the encouraging word is, my God shall supply all your need according to his riches and glory by Christ Jesus. In other words, everything that you need, you have to trust God for. I think this is a test of our faith that we have to go through this area in our lives of a pandemic that like we've never seen in our lives before, and how we respond to it. I caution those who want to get out, and I know we want to get out and do the things that we normally do. But again, some of that we were doing is some of that got us in trouble because we want to gather and communicate. It's difficult because we are a church that we love each other, we hug each other, and we touch each other. And not being able to touch each other, and really the only time that you can communicate is by telephone, has been a great challenge for us. Yet I have to say that not only this church, but other churches, other pastors that I have talked to, that they have been pleasantly surprised at the response from their various congregations about how they were responding to this COVID virus and all that went along with it, then coming along with a lot of the social issues, but they have responded quite well. And I thank God for that, because maybe some of our teaching had landed somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, Pastor, we thank you so much for the encouraging word, and a special shout out to one of our team members, who's also one of your team members, Ashley Howard, for connecting us. Yes.
I was glad. I did not really know her at first because I have not been here that long, but I was glad to meet her and find out that she was in the position that she was in. And I am just joyful over what she's doing, and we pray God that she not only excels at where she is, but that she will advance.
Yeah. Well, we love our Ashley, and you let us know if she's not at church every Sunday. You let us know.
Oh, thank you. I'm glad that you extended me that invitation.
We're gonna make sure she's at church every Sunday. Don't let her tell you she has to work.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Reverend. We really
set up a chart for her so we can mark it.
The Tabernacle Missionary Baptist Church is in in East Chicago, Indiana. You see the information there on your screen, also on Facebook as well. It's been a pleasure to have the Reverend.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
Gotta love a good Rev.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, you guys, coming up, we have a Juneteenth special tomorrow. I want everyone who's watching right now, tell a friend and make sure you're tuning in tomorrow. So Juneteenth this year, of course, every year, it marks the end of slavery. And here in the United States, and we'll be celebrating amid a national reckoning on race. You know, there's so much going on in our community, and we need to capitalize on this moment and be able to move the conversation forward. So make sure you're tuning in tomorrow from 11:30 a.m. to noon for our Juneteenth Freedom Day celebration. So we're going to talk about why we celebrate, who should celebrate, and the best ways to celebrate Juneteenth. And of course, this wouldn't be the Jam. You know, we love a good game at the Jam. We got our friends from the WGCI Morning Show. They're going to be joining us for a game of Black Card Revoked. Don't get your black card revoked.
Love it.
Gonna be blackety black. I can't wait. I can't. All right, guys. Now let's bring in Rob Kennedy. We've had him on the show before. He has a DIY YouTube series, Dad, How Do I? And since being on our show, it's really popped off. And he joins us now to talk about his new life as a viral star. Facebook post helped spike his channel from 10,000 subscribers to over 2 million. Rob Kennedy, what's up, man?
It's Kenny, but that's
Kenny,
fine.
my
You can
bad.
call me Kennedy.
I put it deep there where it didn't need to be. So, go ahead, Amy.
I say, so how does it feel since last time I talked to you? You're like, oh, well, we're just doing this YouTube series. So now you're, been on the national networks. You're making the talk show rounds. You've got this big fame.
Yeah, it's crazy. And, even though we blew trying to put the tie together with you and I was trying to show you how to tie a tie, and I think we failed miserably.
That's okay.
It's so good to see you. I was actually off last time you were here, and I'm scrolling through your Facebook page, and I'm like, look at all these posts. This is such useful information. How do you decide what to cover next?
Just kind of started simply. I have about 50 things that I had kind of lined up, and I had no idea that this was going to be this big. Even when I was on with you guys, I didn't know it was going to be that big. So, I have people suggesting stuff all the time too. So, but I got a lot of stuff I want to get through myself.
Yeah. You see this wall? I need help trying to put a picture up there.
Well, it's funny. Yeah, it's funny because there are requests. I'm not an electrician or a plumber. I'm a dad that learned how to do some things, and so I'm not going to rewire your house. You wouldn't want me to.
So how did it feel being on Today's Show, On Air with Ryan Seacrest, Tamron Hall, all these big shows?
It's amazing. It's hard to believe. I'm trying to process it. It's still a little surreal.
I mean, your daughter kind of helped you get this all started. Is it fun or is it a little nerve-wracking?
All of the above.
Okay.
It's when it went viral right around May 20th, May 19th, 20th, 21st, I'm like, what just happened? So it's been an adjustment for sure. I'm still trying to get my head around that.
So has this new viral fame opened up any new opportunities for you?
Yeah. I don't know how much I can say, but I've had been approached about a book, and then also possibly some TV. So way beyond anything. I thought I was going to have 30 or 40 subscribers. I said that on your guys' show, I think. Yeah, and I think by that time, what did I have? Like 1,000 or something?
Yeah, somewhere around in there.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, capitalize that. Those all sound like awesome business deals, but also to be able to share what you do with a broader audience. I mean, the purpose rooted in that must be overwhelming.
Yeah. It's this thing's resonated on such a different level. And part of the reason I think it is which is the sad part of it is, fatherlessness and people not having a relationship with their dads. And so if you read the comments, it's a little heartbreaking because that's the flip side of it. Why it's it seems like it's filling a need in a very small way. Obviously, I'm limited as an internet dad to what I can do.
So it's looking like this could be a full-time career for you.
Yeah, I'm still working full time. So it's been, I've had so many media requests, as you've seen, you see my face everywhere now. I'm like, aren't people tired of seeing me by now? I don't know. I'm tired of seeing me, So, so I'm trying to be cautious about it because I'm in my mid 50s and my wife and I planned well. I didn't plan on this. I wasn't trying to be famous, wasn't trying to make money, and so I am still working full time. Again, and I think that's a good example for my internet kids. I'm calling them my kids, you don't want to just jump ship and go, I've built my career over almost 30 years. I'm not going to just give it up and go run after this. And then, my goodness, then it falls apart. Who knows? So I'm trying to be cautious.
And what's your day job?
I work for a company called Complete Office. We're a division of Office Depot in the Seattle area.
Oh my goodness, that's such a dad job. It's a total dad job.
You know what's funny too? I have to tell you guys. So early on, and you probably maybe have seen this. A lot of people thought I was from Chicago because I was on your show
Yeah.
early on, and so people were, taking bits and pieces from my channel because I had shared the link to your to that bit that I did with you guys, and so people put 2 and 2 together and came up with 6.
Nothing
Did
wrong
you
with
ever
being
think you
from Chicago.
Go ahead, Amy.
I say there's nothing wrong with being from Chicago. We will accept you. You can make us your second home.
Yes.
I love Chicago. I got to tell you a quick story. I don't know if I told Javi this or not, but so I visited Chicago one time, and it was my son. We won a trip out there to see the Mariners and the White Sox, and we got a little lost. My son and I got off on the wrong. We were on the L train coming home from the game, I think, and it was late.
Oh, which way did you go?
We got off at the wrong stop, and so here my son and I are in the middle of Chicago, don't know the area, and this awesome guy stepped up with, I think he was with his girlfriend or his wife, and he said, "Hey, you guys look like you shouldn't be here." I'm like, "Yeah, we shouldn't be here." And so he hailed a cabbie and paid for the cab and said, "Take these guys to their hotel." So what a awesome thing, because we were like, oh my goodness, what have we done? And I was thinking that as a dad, oh my goodness, what have I done to my son and me? Put us in harm's way.
That's not going to happen in New York or any of
Yeah.
those coast cities.
That is
So
true.
that's obviously a fond memory that I have of Chicago.
Well, that's good. We have to have you come back then.
Yeah, I hope so. I'd love to. This quarantine is really tough. I want to go out and kind of make a tour or whatever and see people. And people have said that they just want to, get a hug. I'm
Yeah.
good with that. I'm a hugger, but we can't hug right now.
That is so sweet.
It's got to have been really great for you too, because you've been doing all of this with your daughter.
Yeah. Yep. She's been, so I did a video recently called "We Need Each Other," because there tends to be a gap. Obviously there's generations mixed in here where you got boomers and you got the millennials. But I need her. She helps me all the time with navigating the technology part of it, because I would be lost without her.
I'm sure you've probably learned a ton about that stuff doing this while you're teaching everybody else the stuff that we should know.
I've had to, and I still, I'm like, how do I I'm on Instagram on my phone. And I'm like, can you walk me through this? I can't figure out how to see the message. I'm confused.
Yeah. Oh, hey, I'm a Gen Xer, and I'm right there with you. I'm constantly asking these guys. I'm like, I don't know where this is.
Yeah, and we're just as lost as she is.
We're still trying to figure things out too, because they keep updating and changing.
Yeah, the blind leading the blind here. Did you ever think you would have all these kids out here?
No way. No way. It's been cool because we built this on kindness, like you were sharing with my daughter, and I shared it in a few Facebook groups and that sort of thing. And we've tried to build the whole community around kindness, and it's cool because I'm calling them my kids. The subscribers are coming in and they're rallying around each other, and they're trying to promote the whole kindness thing too. And if somebody comes in that's a troll, they get on them, and hey, that's not needed here. So it's pretty. I feel privileged and humbled to be a part of it. I feel like I'm just kind of riding a wave here.
Yeah. Somebody you have a regulator.
Like, don't mess with my dad.
I know, right?
That's it. Yeah.
Has there been talk of I don't know if you guys talked about this last time, but talk of a mom channel?
No.
So yeah, there's been people, and it's interesting. I don't know. I want to believe people are try to do the right thing, but there's other people capitalizing, trying to look like they're associated with me, and nobody. We don't have anything else. I don't want to say anything necessarily bad about people, but I, and I even saw this morning somebody set up a fake GoFundMe page, acting like they were me to raise money. I didn't do that. So it's sad that there's people out there trying to take advantage.
And see, that's a whole new territory, right? Like that's something you don't usually have to think about.
Yeah. I mean, and I don't want to police that. I want to believe that people are trying to do the right thing, but I've seen some pretty sneaky stuff, which I cringe. And I've been offered, opportunities to sell stuff that I don't believe in, and I'm not going to do that. Because I've started the channel like I'm talking to my kids, and if it's something I don't believe in, I'm not going to be an infomercial selling something that I don't believe in. If it's something that's natural, like I like a DeWalt drill, I'm happy to promote it because it's been I've used it. It's been a great thing. But if it doesn't happen naturally, I'm not going to just start, wearing shirts that,
Right. Well, good. I mean, good for you, because there's so many people in this world who would just, take the chance at the limelight and a little extra cash, and they would run with it. And I love the fact that you're staying true to what you started this as, like you said, talking to your kids, a dad to his daughter, because that's what people, I think that's why you're so endearing, is you're like everybody's dad.
Yeah, well, thank you. That's very kind. I had to even write a mission statement because I'm like, I want to stay true to what I'm doing here. I'm not going to sell the farm. It's not worth it to me. My name is worth more than any money anybody could throw at me. And so I actually, in my mission statement, another thing I want to do is encourage other dads that maybe have gotten off track to get back on track, because life, you promise the world to your kids when they're young or when they're little, and then life gets in the way. You go to work and you're tired and you're in traffic and all this. So, I think that's an important thing. We need to recapture that.
Yeah.
So how you spending Father's Day?
Ironically enough, we're actually celebrating it with my daughter on Friday. And then my son's actually on the East Coast. So it's kind of a different Father's Day this time.
Oh, yeah, it is. He can't come see you, right?
Right. Yeah. So he's coming home next month. So, and that's kind of a longer stay. So I was like, it's fine. It was always important when they were growing up and they were here. Father's Day was a big deal. But yeah, I mean, and it's still a big deal. It's just, with the quarantine, everybody's kind of having to make do.
Did you guys, I can't remember, Washington start easing restrictions at all? Or are you guys still pretty shelter in place?
Slowly. Yeah. It seems like it's taken forever. I mean, I don't know. Yeah. How are you guys? Is that?
We're now to the point where they like outdoor seating at restaurants and stuff is at 50% capacity. Some of our parks are starting to open. So it's, like for Father's Day, I think some people are gonna be able to get together with their fathers if they choose to, which is nice.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good. It's tough. This quarantine and I think that's part of the reason the whole thing's resonated with my channel is because people are longing for connection. I saw my daughter, we met at a park, my wife and I and her, and we just kind of hung out, but I couldn't hug her, and she's wearing a mask. I'm wearing a mask. We're like, so awkward.
Yeah.
Do you have grandchildren?
I don't know. And
what are you going to do when you become a grandfather?
Yeah.
What will I do?
Yeah.
I don't know. I haven't been there yet. So, I'm looking forward to it, but I've never put that kind of pressure on my kids. I don't, and I hear people doing that, but it's like, it's your life. And I've always tried to share that with them. You guys get to make your own choices. And that's, I have to kind of let that go. It's hard, but if you're going to raise good adults, I had to let my son go to the East Coast. He's 25. He went there last summer as a 24-year-old, had a job opportunity, and I encouraged him to do it. It didn't happen without tears. So that was tough. My daughter moved to Tennessee a few years ago. She's back now. Her and her husband moved there, and I encourage that because, it's your life. Go have your own experiences. It's hard, but it's better than I'm living in my basement.
I need some parenting advice. Okay, now it's not to fix something, so you don't have to help me fix anything. Except I got a kid who plays too much video games, and you're quite a bit younger than my dad, so my dad doesn't have any advice for me. Well, how do I get my kid to get off video games other than I just don't let him, which is what we don't do. But then he fights me on it all the time. Yeah,
that's a question for the ages. I think. With us, what we always tried to do, my wife and I are on the same team with all this. So, and I got to make sure she gets credit too, because, a lot of times people are looking at me and, we're on the same team. But I think with us, we would always differentiate between a right and a privilege. And this is a privilege. And I'm going to give you a little bit of leeway here and I'll see how you handle it. And if you don't handle it, I'm taking it away. And if you handle it well, I'll give you more responsibility. I think that would be how I would answer that.
I like that.
Yeah.
Rob, I told her she should just let him play himself into an oblivion, and then one day he won't want to do it anymore.
It's
That
so-
was my advice. I'm not a parent yet, though.
Yeah, I don't know how that would work. And we always would talk about consequences too. Consequences were always big because then they're making the choice and then there's consequences. So you'd say, okay, this is what I expect of you. If you do this and you step outside, there's consequences. So you're making the choice. So I don't want to have to punish you, but if you choose this, then this is what you're going to get.
See,
Would that
great
work,
dad
Amy?
Advice. I love it.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, but I guess you got to kind of create a consequence.
Well,
Yeah.
the consequence is you lose video games for good.
I don't know if you can go that drastic. That might be, yeah, you got to stay reasonable.
Amy,
that might
laying down the law.
All right, Rob Kenny, thank you so much and congratulations on all your success.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks for having me back on. I really enjoy you guys.
Yeah,
Thanks
you're
for being you.
such a
Put the
wonderful person to
information up on
talk to.
screen
Thank you.
here.
All right, take care.
Take care.
You can see his information there, the Dad How Do I YouTube channel. It's great. You guys are going to love it. You can find it all there, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube.
So much
So
fun.
cute.
He just is a dad, like a dad, right? It's just, I want to take advice from him.
Yeah. He said he works in a portion of the Home Depot or something.
Yeah,
something.
you're like-
I'm like, that is such a job.
Such a dad job. We're almost done with this hour. I want to really quickly give everybody a look at their forecast because now we're up to 90 degrees. We've gone up 5 degrees since the start 11 o'clock. So it is hot out there. We're probably going to climb a little bit above 90 now that we moved up so quickly just because there's no clouds out there. So the sun is just baking the city of Chicago and then everything around it. So be careful if you're heading out the door today because we do have an air pollution action day today. And you'll notice we got high temperatures again tomorrow before we get some showers into the weekend. We'll have another full look at your forecast coming up at 2 o'clock. So don't forget, we're on our new time schedules. This started this week. So at 2 o'clock, we'll have much more fun.
Yes, at 2 p.m. We're going to talk to Chris Tucker. Not that Chris Tucker, but the Chris Tucker that bakes. We're going to talk to the baker, Chris Tucker, you guys, from the Great American Baking Show. And he's got some tips and some recipes that you need to know about.
Yeah, we'll talk about a virtual Pride Fest as well. Should be pretty awesome. We're going to have a lot of fun. So we'll see you guys at 2.